kana ndire wendo hana taruthuku kana ngengere gambaga ya guthu hana taruthuku kana ngengere gambaga ya guthu wendo ni Ngai Ngai ni wendo utari wendo no wira watu wendo ni Ngai Ngai ni wendo utari wendo no wira watu ingĩkorwo no ũhoti wa kũratha ngamenya maũndũ mothe marĩ hitho-inĩ na ndirĩ wendo no wĩra wa tũhũ ingĩgĩa na wĩtĩkio ũngĩthamia irĩma na ndirĩ wendo no wĩra wa tũhũ itarĩ wendani ndirĩ bata ona hanini itarĩ wendani ndirĩ bata ona hanini wendo nĩ Ngai Ngai nĩ wendo ũtarĩ wendo no wĩra wa tũhũ wendo nĩ Ngai Ngai nĩ wendo ũtarĩ wendo no wĩra wa tũhũ Nikiona ingĩheana indo ciakwa na mwĩrĩ wakwa ũcinwo na ndirĩ wendani ndirĩ ũndũ ingĩguna naguo wendani nĩ ũkiragĩrĩria nĩ ũtuganaga wendani ndũrĩ wĩru mwĩgatho ona kana mwĩtĩo wendani ndũrĩ wĩru mwĩgatho ona kana mwĩtĩo wendo nĩ Ngai Ngai nĩ wendo ũtarĩ wendo no wĩra wa tũhũ wendo nĩ Ngai Ngai nĩ wendo ũtarĩ wendo no wĩra wa tũhũ wehunjia mũno no tarĩ wendo no wĩra wa tũhũ wehoya mũno no tarĩ wendo no wĩra wa tũhũ wendani ndũgathira morathi magathira thiomi nĩgathira ona ũgĩ ũthire no wendani ndũgathira wendani ndũgathira morathi magathira thiomi nĩgathira ona ũgĩ ũthire no wendani ndũgathira wendo nĩ Ngai Ngai nĩ wendo ũtarĩ wendo no wĩra wa tũhũ wendo nĩ Ngai Ngai nĩ wendo ũtarĩ wendo no wĩra wa tũhũ
Good morning, Kenya Diaspora Media, from wherever you're tuning in. My name is Esther from Leicester, and this is Good Morning Kenya Diaspora Media, Kenya Diaspora Media family, and you are the Kenya Diaspora Media family. So karibu sana as our JD, our own JD, Jeremy Damaris, CEO of this company or this media, opening with that beautiful song, Wedo ne gai na gai ne wedo. So I've been talking about our well-being and our welfare, our safeguarding and all that, and that's what I concluded in the previous topic. And the starter question I had yesterday or the previous time was, what is your favorite room? What is your favorite room in your house? What is your favorite room in your house? And I said mine was the kitchen, and I gave a few reasons why mine is the kitchen. So karibu sana from wherever you're tuning in as you're thinking about what's your favorite room in your house. Lucy Nduta, karibu sana, and you're saying good morning. Asante sana kwa kuungana nasi. Thank you so much for joining in. Asante sana. And then Rehoboth Muso Shiko, you're saying good morning. Gokone mahoya, no mahoya. Yes, I understand, because it's a voting day. This is 9th of August 2022, and therefore there is voting going on in Kenya, and that's why maybe by saying good morning to you, it will encourage you to stay in the topic of today about self-esteem and confidence that we'll be talking about later. Karibu sana Rehoboth Musoshiko. Karibu sana Peter Mwaura Moirore. Good morning. And you're saying good song about the love of God. Yes, everything we do should be done in love. Everything we do, even the ones that we don't do, because there are those things that we are not supposed to do. So everything that is done should be done in love, because God is love and love is God. When we show God's love, then people are able to read our lives better, and they can be able to live a more harmonious, lovely life. Karibu sana. Jane Jesse, you're saying you're tuning in. Karibu sana pia. Thank you so much for tuning in, and you have shared a video there which I'll have a look later. I can't promise to play because of the copyrights, but thank you so much for sharing. And then Rose Ngure, you're saying good morning, and also Gladys Wamboi Mwangi, you're saying good morning. Tell me where you're tuning in from so that I can be able to give you a shout out, and also to tell people around you that you're tuned in to Kenya Diaspora Media this morning. And Benson Mashara, you're saying good morning as well. Karibuni sana. Thank you so much for joining in. Yes, I know it's voting day in Kenya, but for us to be able to go through the day in a calmer, quieter way without really being anxious or anticipating so much, you can be able to tune into Kenya Diaspora Media this morning for a good morning prayer, good morning wish, good morning desire in our lives. So karibuni sana. Please do tell me where you're tuning in from, and if I don't mention your name, please write the comment again, because sometimes they disappear, so that I can be able to mention you and be able to give you a shout out. Now, this is Kenya Diaspora Media Good Morning session, and yes, our CEO, our own CEO, has opened up with a very beautiful song there. And my starter question for this morning on our well-being and safeguarding, on our welfare, is to do with asking you, what is your favorite room in your house? What is your favorite room in your house, and why? Because the moment you answer the what, it's important that you also answer the why. Is it the most important room in your house? Now, I will do a quick recap of yesterday's or the previous day topic, because I've started it some way back. Sometimes I said about 4 points, then I said 6. But yesterday, this one I had placed on my timeline, I had talked about all of them, the 10 points that I had yesterday. So I'll do a quick recap for those who are joining in afresh today, so that you can be able to know what is it that Esther was talking about yesterday before we move on to today's topic. But remember, please, to tell me what's your favorite room as we move on. Okay, and some people are still joining in. Karibu sana Rose Ngure, karibu sana Gladys Wamboi Mwangi, karibu sana Benson Mashara, karibu sana. All we want here in Kenya is peace, and that's what I am also praying for. And Rose Ngure, you're saying you're tuning in from Seattle, Washington, and Kenya is at our heart today. Yes, we are praying for Kenya. And Benson Mashara, you are saying you're tuned in from Lower Kabete. Asante sana. Lilian Mwangoi, you're tuning in from Kiambu. Asante sana for tuning in. And Bimo Kagosha, you're saying good morning. So let me know where you're tuning in from, and also let me know as we continue with this topic whether it is helping you. How? Yes, maybe we need to know whether our well-being and our welfare, our safeguarding, Yes, the verse for today that I was reading today say, guard your heart, guard your heart. Above everything, guard your heart, guard your mind. And we do this through love. And that love song from Jeremy Damaris is one of the reinforcing factors saying, yes, love should be king, or love should reign supreme. So good morning once again. So let me just have a quick recap of what it is that I started with when I started this program of well-being and welfare, and also having a good mind, having well-protected minds, and it will help us to be able to know where we are going in this life, because sometimes we wake up, we are crowded with so many things, and life is overwhelming. I don't know about you, I feel that way. Sometimes I feel that life is bringing so many things in my life, and sometimes it can be tough on how to handle even what is happening in Kenya now. Some people may have been indecisive about what to do this particular morning, and I pray for those who haven't made up their decisions, who have not chosen whatever candidate that they want to vote for, that they will be able to decide and act upon that with good reasons. So the topic has been how to stop overthinking, and this is a recap. I may not go into the depth of everything that I said, so if you want a full description, a full explanation of the topic, please, you can either visit previous programs, as well as you can go on my timeline. You can be able to find a full explanation, which I did yesterday. I was hoping to put it on the Kenya Diaspora Media, but somehow as I was doing ABCD, it went to my timeline. Okay, number one was to put everything in a wider perspective. Ask yourself, this thing I'm doing, like now the voting that people are doing today, it matters in the next 5 years. It does matter. So ask yourself, will it matter in 5 years? And so if it matters in 5 years, you need to make your decision wisely. If it matters in 5 months, if it matters in 5 weeks, if it matters in 5 days, or in 5 minutes, it matters. However much it matters, if it matters in the next 5 minutes, then the decision should be quick and you need to act upon it. Stop overthinking about it. Do something. Which brings us to the second point of yesterday's recap. It says, make short deadlines for your decisions. Make short deadlines for your decisions. So 30 seconds is enough to make a short decision. For example, washing your dishes, going to the gym, eating that meal or not eating that meal, or talking to that person or not talking to that person. But for larger decisions, then you can take up to a half an hour. Now, we've been given a long time for Kenyans. Yeah, we've had a long time, almost a year if I'm not wrong, for us to decide what candidate we are going to vote. So that was a longer deadline, and today is the day that we are voting. So for short decisions, make short timeline. For longer decision, you can give yourself a long time, but you set the short-term goals and the long-term goals, but make sure the short-term goals lead you to achieving the long-term goals. Number 3, I'd say stop setting your day up for failure. Stop setting your day up for failure. Have a good tone when you start the day. Have a good tone of the day. Yeah, do something positive in the morning. Don't skip breakfast unless you're fasting. Okay, do something that is uplifting. If you like exercise, do it. If you like singing, do it. If you like dancing, if you like going for a morning jog, do it. Just do that, something that will set your day positive. And your mouth, take care of that. Don't say things that are negative. Don't say, oh, this is going to be the worst of the days. Some people have woken up. It's a voting day, yes, but they may have said, oh, this is the worst day and it's going to be disaster. No. This is going to be a good day. So good morning. This is going to be a good day. We are going to vote for the leaders. Whoever will win, asiyekubali kushindwa sio mshindani, that person who will win will be our president, and we'll embrace them. We will not fight amongst ourselves because it's not helpful. There's no need, because they are in the state house, they're in parliament, they're in the leadership positions. There, wherever they are, they will continue earning their money while we squabble and fight. So we're not going to fight. Let's set our days, the future, on a positive note, and not for failure but for success. So whoever will be winning today, maybe the announcement will be made tomorrow. we will support them. We will support them. Let's support them and make something positive out of the situation. So that was the other point I was talking about. Then become a person of action. Yes, once you have decided that this is the thing that I need to focus on, when you decide and when you choose whatever it is that you want to do, become a person of action. Become a person of action. Take small steps towards what it is that you are doing. In the same way, when people are planning to vote, people went for their IDs, they prepared their system of voting. Everything has been done step by step. And in the same way, you and I, let's become a person of action. And you can continue chatting with me so that I can know you're there, you're tuning in with the program, so that I can be able to be mentioning you as we go along. So karibu sana for those who are tuning in. And let me know that you can hear me loud and clear, because I want to be able to be recognizing people as we go along. So karibu sana, join in, and karibu sana, and talk to me so that we know we are together. Tujue tuko pamoja. So this is Good Morning Kenya Diaspora Media Program, and Esther is tuned in with you today. Okay. Let me hope you can hear me loud and clear. So I haven't asked whether you can hear me, so please let me know. Become a person of action was the fourth point that I was talking about on recap from yesterday, and I would really love to know if my audio is loud. Even me, let me try it and see whether it's there. Alternatively, I'll be talking to myself. So let's check that the audio is there. Karibu sana. Let me check my own audio. Yes, I think it is there. Asante sana. It's always important that you talk to the person in the studio. Otherwise, they could be talking to themselves. Anyway, stop setting your day up for failure. Today, even in Kenya, it's not going to be a fail. Whoever will be the president, whoever the leaders will be selected today, regardless of how we will vote, people will vote, and once they vote, those leaders will be there. It's not going to be a failure. Let's make it a success. Kenya is Kenya as a country. It will be built as a Kenyan country, not necessarily for any tribe or for any group of people, or not for people in power themselves. They need to go there and represent us and be able to build the nation. Become a person of action. Don't just decide. Don't just choose. Don't just think about things. Act upon those things that you're thinking about. Take one step at a time. Don't be overwhelmed, but act upon those. Number 5, I think, realize you cannot control everything. When you think about something 50 times, you're not resolving it. You're just thinking and overwhelming your mind. So don't overthink 50, 20, however many times. Don't. It doesn't matter if you make a mistake. It's okay to make a mistake. So choose to act, like we have said in a previous point. Choose to act, and even if you fail, it's a learning point. Yes, in life we have those learning curves. We fail, as long as it's not fatal, we are able to start afresh and move on. Look at a child. Observe a baby when it's learning how to crawl, when it's learning how to stand, when it's learning how to walk, when it's learning how to run. They fall, and they only pretend to be hurt if you try to sweet talk them, to soothe them. But when they're on their own, they keep on running, and it's good for their personal growth. It's good for also for building your stamina. So setbacks are there. They do help us to become better at the things that we could have failed in the past. Now, you need to learn to say no to yourself, no to others. So when the negative thoughts are buzzing into your mind, and there is that particular thing that you, even if you think about it, you're not able to solve it right now. For example, when you're going to bed, when you're going to sleep, and you know there is that issue that is nagging you in the mind. Yes, you don't have to keep it in the mind if it's not going to be solved. So you can write that thing in a note, all right, and place it by the bedside. Thank you so much, Rose Ngure. You're saying you are loud and clear, and you said you are learning as well. Asante sana. So there is a point where you tell that thought no later on. And the best way not to forget about that, if it's something of importance, if it's something that matters, like we said in point number 1, write it down. If it's a time when you're going to bed or you need to focus on something else important, do something else that will distract you from that particular thought and then concentrate on what matters at that particular time, and then you can always come back and do the other point that needs to be done. Or if you're going to bed, put something that will distract you in a good way. Yes, like listening to an audio book, or you reading a book yourself, or being told a story by someone else, if it works that way. Whatever will help you to go to sleep, but not forcing yourself to sleep. Yeah, so don't drink something like, or don't take tablets necessarily to put you to go to sleep, but find something that can help you to soothe your brain, to soothe your mind as you go to sleep. Audiobooks, they work for me. They can also work for you, I believe. Music, calming music, not the doom, doom, doom music. No. The calming type of music will help you to calm your mind as you go to sleep. And Masi Gabriel is tuning in from Gatondo South. Asante sana, asante sana. Now, the other thing is, don't get lost in the vague fears. In this life, we are fearful of trying things. Like I said earlier on, we are fearful of failing. We are fearful of success sometimes because we don't know what to do with that success. So don't, fall for that fear. Yes, tell me, what is the worst that could happen to you? Honestly, if you did something, what's the worst that could happen to you? Unless you did something that is really going to kill you, something that is going to finish you completely, that's the worst that could happen. But even if it could happen, if you have a tune with God, if you have a relationship with God, but if you commit suicide, of course, I wouldn't say much. You have ended it before God's time. But if the mistakes you're doing are not fatal, stop being fearful. Yes, stop being fearful. Remember, the worst that can happen most of the time, if it's not fatal, we can be able to resolve those issues. And I said another point is exercise and workout. We all exercise in different ways. We all work out in different ways. I don't know what you normally do to exercise yourself. Okay, this morning I've watered my garden. In walking up and down, I've had some fresh air. Sometimes I go down the street and I walk for a few steps. I've set my Fitbit to help me in the walking. So it's important to exercise. When I was growing up in the villages, going to the farm, I didn't like it, but thankfully that was exercising. When I used to go to the river to fetch water, I didn't like it them days, but now I have to look for that time when I'm exercising my body. As I'm growing older and as I'm getting occupied with the things that I do on every day-to-day basis, some of them I spend most of the time sitting down. Therefore, I need to stand up and exercise my body. I need to exercise my feet, my leg, my arms. I need to keep my body moving here and there. That song that was going on, Jeremy Damaris' song, you can dance to that. Whichever method of exercising or working out. If you like going to the gym, you can do, but there are so many other free methods of exercising. As you exercise, you stop overthinking. The topic I'm recapping from previously is how to stop overthinking. How to stop overthinking, and there are many ways to stop overthinking. Then we have a good quality sleep. It's surprising how sleep is common and a neglected factor when it comes to developing a positive mindset. If you don't sleep enough, then you won't have a good, fresh mind. Okay, for me, for example, this morning, I woke up at about 4 a.m. in the morning, and I'm thinking, no, Esther, you haven't slept enough. Even the Fitbit I wear was telling me it's only 77%. I like it when it's more than 80%. So I thought I do need to go back to sleep, because if I wake up with less sleep, my mind tells me I haven't slept enough. Already I have set the day for failure. The point that I had said previously, do not set your day up for failure. Be positive. Talk about positive things. Hope for positive things during that particular moment. And therefore, as we set our minds for success, if anything comes, even if we seemingly seem to fail, then that is also a learning curve. It's a learning point. So have some good sleep. Keep the bedroom cool. Don't try to force yourself to sleep. Instead, yes, you can use audiobooks. You can read and then slow down, wind down. Put your phone away. Put your tablet away. Silence it. You don't need ting, ting, ting here and there. Because the more ting, 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 tings come through your mind, the more that you want to stay awake. Okay. Connect with the present moment. Yes, in life. As I was watering the garden, I was trying to tell myself, Esther, you need to do this very quickly. You need to do this very quickly because you need to go to work by 8 a.m. and I'm working from home at the moment, so I'm not under pressure to really start work at 8 as long as that work is done on this particular day. So I had to tell myself, slow down, enjoy the process of watering the garden. Walking slower, I normally walk slower anyway. And then talking slower, I don't know whether I'm talking too fast today. If I am, please tell me, Esther, punguza hiyo speed ya kuongea, talk slower, so that people can be able to understand, and also I can be able to articulate my points more clearly. So disrupt and reconnect. So when I'm overtaken by the thoughts, I need to disrupt them, and then I need to reconnect with the things that matter. Yes, and the moment we do that, I'm able now to focus on the moment. What is it that I want to do this particular moment? I want to speak to you. I want to speak to myself, because these points, in as much as I'm telling them to you, I want to be able to understand them myself. Like this morning, I've said to you, I have already practiced some of them. So slow down in a productive way. Not slow down until you can't do anything. You're slowing down so that you can be more productive and you can be able to think about the things that really matter. So when the overthinking starts, disrupt it in your mind by shouting, just stop, Esther, stop now. Then reconnect by taking 1 to 2 minutes to fully focus on what is going on around you, and then focus on what really matters. Remember, God gave us 5 common senses and also the 6th sense, which is the instinct. So use your 5 common senses to see what is going around you, to listen to what is going around you, to smell what is going around you. If it's about feeling, is it too cold? Is it too hot? Yes, all the 5 senses, use them. I've mentioned them previously when I've been talking about the spices of life, that we were given 5 common senses, that we use them wisely. Use those 5 common senses to reconnect with the present moment, reconnect and focus on the things that matter at this particular point. Okay, and we are moving on. This is just a quick recap, and then spend time with non-overthinkers. Yeah, those people who not overthink. Spend time with people who are not overthinkers like you, or people who overthink, because 2 overthinkers will end up overthinking something so much they may not end up doing what needs to be done. So spend less time with non-overthinkers. Find ways of problem solving. Decide very, very quickly, as we had said previously. If it's something that needs to be taking a longer time to decide, put it aside, write it down. It's there in your ideas, but not necessarily in your mind. As overthinking, you can still have it written down. People normally say, write the vision down. Write it down. And then as you take 1 step at a time, you could be working towards resolving whatever it is that you want to resolve. So avoid things that will make you overthink. Yeah, move towards the positive outlook of life. Look towards the things that influence life in a more positive way. Stop that overthinking habit. And then the last but not least recapping point was, be aware of the issue. It's important that you become aware of that issue that is really making you to overthink. Is it worth overthinking? We go back to square one in point number 1, right? Does it matter right now? So be aware of the challenge and be willing to break that habit of overthinking. I am. But if you think that you'll just remember to stop overthinking, then you are fooling yourself. You're not telling yourself the truth. No, you cannot just stop overthinking if you're an overthinker. If you're thinking about something creative, positive, even that's better. You can still write it down, but overthinking about it, like I said 50 times, does not really create anything, does not solve any problem. You just need to be able to know the idea is here. I've written it down and I can go over it. Yeah, I can be taking actions step by step, small bites and so on. And then as you create those reminders, put them somewhere where you can regularly remind yourself, but not necessarily carry them into your head all the time. You can have a notebook, or you can put them in your phone. So that's the topic that I had looked at previously, and it's to do with overthinking. Remember, the program today is to do with well-being, safeguarding our hearts, safeguarding our minds. And the question I had asked before I move on to the topic of today is, what is your favorite room? What is your favorite room? And I think as I come back to what is your favorite room, I'm going to play back this song that I had started the program with. And therefore, as you tell me what's your favorite room, we will be going to today's topic, which will be self-esteem and confidence. Self-esteem and confidence. As you tell me what's your favorite room, here is Jeremy Damaris, just a snippet of his song, and then we will move on. We will continue with the topic of today. Karibu sana. Karibu sana. Asante sana JD. Asante sana Jeremy Damaris. Thank you so much for that beautiful song. Now, we'll be moving on to the topic of today, which is this one here you're reading down here. Self-esteem and confidence. They seem to be the same thing, but they're not. So, like I said, what is your best room in your house and why? Okay, that was the starter question. And I would like you to be able to respond as well so that I know you are with me on this particular topic, on this particular day in the studio. So karibu sana. So what is your favorite room and why is it your favorite room in your house? My favorite room in my body is this one here, the mind and the heart. So the mind and the heart, and I call it the kitchen of our lives. The kitchen in the physical context, I use it also as the symbolizing the place where I spend the most valuable time of my day, because that's where I cook. And in the physical, in the spiritual and intellectual life, this is where we cook a lot of ideas, and this is where we come out with so many things that we do in this life. So the kitchen is my favorite room for the reason of cooking, for the reason of washing the pots, for the reason of, yes, spending most of the things that I do in that particular kitchen. So when we clean up, like I'm saying, I'm using this as a symbolism or a synonym, okay, not synonymous, symbolizing that the kitchen of our lives, the mind and the heart, that's where a lot of things are collected, and that's where a lot of things are kept, and then we need to clean our minds occasionally. And that's why I was recapping on how to stop overthinking, because when you overthink, you're clogging your mind with a lot of things, and when you overthink, you may not be thinking clearly. So there's a time to remove some of the things in the folders of our minds, and then doing something that is worthwhile, cleaning up the kitchen and cooking fresh food every day. That's what we do in the kitchen, because if you eat yesterday's food, it can go stale. But you can also store that yesterday's food in the fridge or in the freezer to preserve it so that it can be used another day. You see why the kitchen is the most important room in my life. Now, the topic of today, I wanted to say it's self-esteem and confidence. Self-esteem and confidence, that's the topic we are going to look at today. And I don't know how you define self-esteem. I don't know how you define confidence. I don't know. But self-esteem and confidence, self-confidence overlap, but they are different. Yes, they are different. Self-esteem refers to whether you appreciate and value yourself. So self-esteem refers to whether you appreciate and value yourself. Your self-esteem develops and changes as a result of your life experiences, right, and interaction with other people. And self-confidence is your belief in yourself and your abilities. I'm going to say that again so that it's clear. It's clear for all of us. Self-esteem and self-confidence, they do overlap. People sometimes tend to think it's the same thing, but it's not the same things. But they are, like I've said, they are different, but we deal with them almost in the same way. So self-esteem refers to whether you appreciate and value yourself, right? And then your self-esteem develops and changes as a result of your life experiences and interactions with people. And even you, the way you interact with yourself, that inner person I've always talked about, the inner person in you, the way you interact with that person, it can help you to build your self-esteem, or it can help to it can bring your self-esteem down. So it's important that you kind of think about the way your self-esteem is being developed. Self-confidence is your belief in yourself and your abilities. Self-confidence is your belief in yourself and what you are able to do, the abilities. Yes. Now, raising. How can we raise? I like to talk about how to. So we've talked about on how to stop overthinking. Today we'll be talking about how to raise low self-esteem. That's what I want to focus on. And please let me know if this topic is valuable to you or not. And let me know if you're still tuned in so that we can continue together in this discussion. Okay, have you ever felt low self-esteem? Have you ever had a low self-esteem? Have you ever lacked confidence? What was causing your low self-esteem? Why did you lack confidence in your life? What was it that you were doing and you didn't have the confidence to do that particular thing? Again, you can put your comments here below. They will help me to know different things that normally cause people to have a low self-esteem or also to cause low confidence. Sometimes we tend to think we are all good to go, that we are confident and we have high self-esteem. But as you talk to people nowadays, particularly our young generation, you will find some of them don't have a self-esteem and some of them are low in their confidence levels. And sometimes what we see in the media or what we see about our people nowadays is a show off. Yeah, we can be showing off to show that we are confident or we have high self-esteem, but in actual sense, behind the scenes, behind, yes, this thing that we see, it can be that people are struggling with self-esteem and people are struggling with self-confidence. So we all have times when we lack confidence and we do not feel good about ourselves. So there are times when we are not feeling good about ourselves. Like I had said, self-confidence is to do with abilities. So some things that we are required to do, we may not have the confidence, may not have the self-confidence to do those things, and the confidence grows. Like me and broadcasting now, I've been building confidence with time to be able to speak to you the way I am doing right now. So we all have times when we lack confidence, and we all have times that we do not feel good about ourselves. So when this low self-esteem happens, it does. But when the low self-esteem becomes a long-term problem, it can have harmful effects on our mental health and our day-to-day lives. So it's reconnected with that overthinking that we've been talking about. It's reconnected with many other negative things that could be happening in our minds that become the reality of life. By the way, thank you so much, Marie Wright, for these notes. I must say, yes, I must give due respect to who due respect is worth. She is the one who's been writing these notes, and with her consent, I've been able to use these notes, well written and well guided, and thank you so much. So, but when the low self-esteem becomes a long-term problem, like I've said, it can become a harmful effect on your mental health and our day-to-day life. So if you know someone who has low self-esteem and that person is within the circle of your life, it could be a family member, it could be someone you work with, you can be able to, maybe support them and try to understand where is the root cause of their low self-esteem and how far has it pushed them to be where they are. Sometimes we may be able to help, sometimes we are not able to help, but sometimes you can guide them to a program like this where they can be able to listen to on some of the ways they can be able to handle the way they are feeling about themselves or the way they are overthinking about themselves. So low self-esteem becomes a long-term problem, and it can have harmful effects on our mental health and our day-to-day life if it's not taken care of. So what is it exactly? I had given you a little overview that it is something about how we feel about ourselves. So self-esteem in itself is the opinion we have of ourselves. It's the way we perceive ourselves. And when we perceive ourselves, it's something that happens in the mind. It's the outlook of our own lives from the mind. It's like that person from within is the one that talks to this physical person, and they tell you either you're good or you're bad, or today is a positive day or it's not positive day, or your life is a positive life or your life is a negative life, although it can be affected by personalities. But the opinion we have about ourselves can create the self-esteem that we have. So you can have high self-esteem and you can have low self-esteem. You can have balanced self-esteem. It's important to have a balanced self-esteem, because sometimes when you have over high self-esteem, you esteem yourself so high that you become prideful. That's not healthy either. Then you can have low self-esteem until you loathe yourself. That is not helpful either. When you hate yourself just because you're feeling bad about the situation or something that is happening about your life, the opinion you have of yourself, if it's too high, it's not so good. If it's too low, it's not good. We need to have a balanced self-esteem. So we have self-esteem. We have healthy self-esteem when we tend to feel positive about ourselves in a balanced way. That is in general. When you have a positive feeling or opinion of yourself, about you and about life in general, then it can make you have a balanced self-esteem. It makes us better able to deal with the life's ups and downs, because the life's ups and downs will come anyway. Like today being a voting day in Kenya, I don't know whether it's a high or a low in life. I don't know. So sometimes it's good to be given these opportunities, and people say it's a high opportunity for us to be able to choose the next leaders. Or sometimes you can say, oh, this is going to be difficult because we don't know who to choose, because we are still confused. So it can be a low. But at the end of the day, we need to be able to balance that. Yes, when our self-esteem is low, we tend to see ourselves and our lives in a more negative and critical light. We also feel less able to take on the challenges that life throws us. Yes, so high esteem is positive. Low esteem can be very critical, can bring negativity, and it can be very difficult for us to be able to face life. But with high positive self-esteem, then we can be able to deal with the life's ups and downs. Now, the other thing you could be asking, what causes low self-esteem? Low self-esteem often begins in childhood. You know, our parents, our teachers, our friends, our siblings, people we meet. Media now is a big thing. These things can help, or rather can shed a light on where low self-esteem comes from, or where high self-esteem can come from. So it depends on the outlook and the opinion you have about yourself and about life. So if you see life in a negative light, then you can also pick those negative vibes. But if you see life in a positive light, it can help you to be able to build your life in a positive way. Because, for example, my teachers were very critical in a way. I mean, not critical as in criticizing. They were very important in my life in building my own self-esteem. They encouraged me a lot from primary school, secondary, even to date. Anyone who is teaching me, they have helped me to build my self-esteem. They have shown me the positive sides of me. Of course, I do have negative sides of me, but most of the time, people have helped me. My own husband has been able to help me to build my own self-esteem. So low self-esteem can begin in childhood. It can begin in childhood. It depends on how we are raised by our parents. It depends on how our teachers educate us. It depends on how we deal with our siblings. It depends also on how we meet with people in the public, our friends, and those things that people say, particularly the things they say or the things they do. Those are the ones that change the way we think, and they change the way we think, and then we have either low self-esteem or higher self-esteem. If somebody says, for example, oh, you're good for nothing, you are lazy, then obviously your self-esteem starts going down. But unless you really do know your abilities now, if you know where your confidence levels are, then you can hit back, not necessarily by saying something, but in the way you think. In the way you think, you can be able to really know, yes, I'm able to do this thing in the right way. When we were talking about the overthinking processes, how to stop overthinking, when you fail at something, it doesn't have to bring your self-esteem down. It doesn't have to bring your confidence levels down. Because if you have a positive outlook of life, then you will know that is a learning point. So you don't have to be brought down by that. But that requires a lot of effort sometimes in telling yourself, I can do this. Yes, I can restart afresh. Yes, that person, whatever they're saying, it doesn't necessarily conclude that I am lazy or I'm good for nothing, because I know my value. I know the value I can add on someone's lives. I know my worth. And if you're a Christian like me, then your worth is built by God. It's built by the promises of God upon your life. You know it if you read the Bible, if you read about the promises of God upon your life. If you read from Genesis how God created you to be good, then you can be able to build your self-worth. The self-esteem can be at a good starting point. Your confidence can be built not necessarily out of your own self-confidence, but because someone else higher than you, someone else with authority, someone else who is bigger than our parents, bigger than our teachers, bigger than our friends, bigger than anybody you've ever met, bigger than the media, has said you are worth. So if you set your foundational thinking points at that bar, then you can be able to lift up that self-esteem, and you can be able to do more because of the self-confidence is going to rise as well. Remember, self-confidence is to do with the abilities. Self-esteem mostly is to do the way you have, the opinion you have about yourselves. So for some reason, the message that you are not good enough is the one that stays with you. That's the problem. Most of the time, there could be so many positive things that have been spoken about your life. There are so many positive things you know about your life. But unfortunately, for some reason, that particular day you hear you're not good enough. Those negative things that you hear, they're the ones that normally bring you down. Or that look that seemingly seems like it's not a positive look is the one that normally remains with you. Perhaps you found it difficult to live up to other people's expectations of you or your own expectations. So that can also bring self-esteem down. Yes, when you are married, maybe your husband or your wife has high expectations of you. You're not able to meet those, and therefore you feel so low. Sometimes you go to school, your teachers have high expectation of you, of passing exams. When you don't meet those, then you feel very low. Who else? There are many people that may be having expectations of you. Sometimes when you know that you've not met those expectations, then your self-esteem can go down. And sometimes you have your own expectations. You have your own expectations in life. And when these expectations are not met by you, then again, it can bring self-esteem down. Now, remember, yes, we set those expectations. But I can take you back again as a Christian. What does God expect of you, right? You need to go back there. Yeah, one of the commandments, like the song that was saying earlier, or rather singing, is that love is the key, the king, the commandment that we've been given. So if you do everything from a place of love, then those expectations can be reduced a little bit. Those expectations can be sometimes not being put too high. Don't put a bar that is too high for you, because God's bar is a balanced bar. It's a balanced way of calling you to himself. He doesn't want you to do everything for, yes, that's why we are saved by grace, not necessarily by works. And after the works of grace have been done upon our lives, then we can operate from that position of doing good, because God has been gracious. We can be gracious to ourselves. We can be gracious to other people. I hope I'm making this point clear. I was looking at some points of where does low self-esteem come from. So I had said earlier on, it can come from others, from our parents, teachers, friends, siblings. It can come from media. It can also come from something we heard about, that you're not good enough, for example. It can come from people's expectations of you. It can come from your own expectations. And then the other place this self-esteem, low self-esteem can come from is stress and difficulties in life. Because in life, there are so many things we go through. There are different types of life events. And depending on how you transition from one event to the next event, then it can affect you. It can affect your self-esteem. So for example, if you have an illness, or if there is a bereavement in your family, or if you get married and your expectation of the marriage is not what works out, then stress can start to set in. And as it sets in, then it can bring your self-esteem low. Yes, and then it can give that negative effect on the self-esteem. So life events, as they change, if they don't become positive, they can affect you. Stress levels, depending on maybe the type of work you do or the type of relationships you have, can also affect self-esteem and bring it low. Then the other thing that can cause low self-esteem is personality. Yes, we are all different. We have different personalities. Some people are extroverted, some people are introverted, and many other personalities that we have. You know yourself, and I know myself. I am different, you are different, and therefore when we have these differences in personalities, then we sometimes can have a low self-esteem of ourselves. Now, before I continue, let me just recognize some people that are in the studio with me so that we can be able to continue with the program. So, Rose Ngure, you said some can be caused by people you surround yourself with. Yes, low self-esteem can be caused by people that you surround yourself with. Caroline Munyao, you're saying you're tuned in from Stoke-on-Trent. Karibu sana, asante sana. You're right, not very far from where I am. I'm in Leicester, Esther from Leicester. And then Maria Mwihaki, you're saying you're tuned in from Damam. Karibu sana. And you're saying hello, my sister. And then Caroline Munyao, you're saying so true. Childhood traumas can affect every kid in life. You're right. Childhood traumas can affect children in life and the way we grow. Sometimes we are not able to escape. We are not able to run away from those traumas. We just live with them. Yeah, and it can cause depression. It can cause mental health problems. Maria Mwihaki, you're saying great topic. Asante sana. Asante sana. And then Pastor John Buru, you're saying this is a wonderful topic. Thank you so much for joining me and making sure that I am not just talking to myself. I'm talking to, yes, myself and you and you and you. Asante sana. So we are on some points that cause low self-esteem. I said personality. We have different personalities. You and I are different people, right? Some people, somehow, they have these, I don't know what to call it. You can say they are just negative, some people, and some people are positive. That's the way it seems. But let me tell you, every person has good in them, because at the beginning God created everyone to be good. So that personality that you think is negative and that personality that you think is positive, if it goes over positive, like I had said earlier, it can become pride. It can seem prideful. Yes, it can seem prideful. It's a balance. We need to be able to strike a balance. We need to be able to understand ourselves. Once you understand yourself, then you can be able to know where your self-esteem levels can be balanced. So yes, personality can play a part. It can be hard work for some people than others. Yes, some people are prone to negative thinking, while others are impossibly high standards for themselves. And then some people are positive. And again, even with the positive people, they can have very high expectations or high standards for themselves. But we need to have a balance. Understand yourself. In one other program that I've spoken on this Kenya Diaspora Media is self-awareness. We need to be able to be aware of who we are. Yes, I normally say we are a spiritual being in as much as we are a physical being. So we have a spiritual being. We are a spiritual being as well as the physical being. So you need to be able to understand your other parts, the spices of life, your spirit person, your physical person, the way you think, intellectual person, and then how we transact life, the currency of this life, and how our emotions influence us, and then how we relate with one another. That's what the spices of life stands for, each of the letters. Okay, how does self-esteem affect us anyway? How does it affect us? And I can see someone else here with a very good point. You are saying here, Maria Mwihaki, you're saying very powerful words, and Pastor John Buru, you're saying low self-esteem is one of the elements that can affect your productivity. You are very right, Pastor John Buru. Yes, the more the self-esteem goes down, the less the productivity. So we go back to the biblical aspects. If you have a low self-esteem of yourself, then you're not going to bear the fruits of the Spirit. You're not going to be fruitful. So that can affect you. For those who want really to understand more about the fruits of the Holy Spirit, go back and read Galatians 5:22. to 23. I believe that's the verse. I don't have the Bible here at the moment, but you can check the chapter of Galatians chapter 5 and you will see where the fruits are mentioned there, about the fruits and of the Holy Spirit. And they are productive because one of them is love. And at the beginning of the conversation, we started by with that song of love. God is love and love is God, because with love we can be able to even uplift our own self-esteem. So how does low self-esteem affect us? If you have a low self-esteem or low confidence, you may hide yourself away. You may hide yourself away from social situations. You may stop trying new things, and you may avoid things you find challenging. That's how that low productivity comes in. Because if you have low self-esteem or you have low confidence levels, then you may hide yourself from the social situations. You may stop trying new things, and you may avoid things that you find challenging. And by the way, challenges in life, they come to build us. They come to build the person that we are. In the short term, avoiding challenging and difficult situations might make you feel safe, but in actual sense, you're not safe. All you have done is avoided. Remember when we were talking about the overthinking and other aspects of life, we need to write them down and deal with them later. I didn't say we shouldn't deal with the issues that we are thinking about, but one of the things we do need to do is to deal with that thing later. If you don't problem solve in life, then you're avoiding the problems and they will pop up somewhere else. It's just like having a garden. If you don't go and pull out the weeds when they can be pulled out, if you leave them to grow up to the height where now they're at the same level with your vegetables, then you may end up pulling the vegetable out as well. So it's good to deal with those things little by little. Like I had said, in the process of stopping overthinking, do bite size. Take action, but do them in bite size. Don't avoid them. Avoiding them in the short term, it may seem like, oh, I've avoided that challenging thing, I've avoided that difficult situation, but in actual sense, you haven't solved anything. You may feel safe for a moment, but then that thing again is there coming towards you, and it needs to be solved. In the longer term, this can backfire because it reinforces your underlying doubts and fears. It teaches you the unhelpful rule that the only way to cope is by avoiding things. That's what trying to avoid, or trying to not do things that you need to do, or trying to be fearful because your low self-esteem is telling you you cannot do this, you cannot do this, you cannot do this. When you teach yourself how to avoid, then you become that person who avoids things. Then you become a person with the problems that are overshadowing you all the time. Then you can become overwhelmed, very overwhelmed by the situation. Then with living with low self-esteem can harm your mental health, and it can lead to problems such as depression and anxiety. It can lead to depression and anxiety. You may also develop unhelpful habits such as, yes, comfort eating, such as smoking, such as drinking too much, such as you may develop a way of overcoming or of coping with this. Some people go also into unhealthy sexual activities because they're trying to avoid the things that are overwhelming them. They're trying to avoid anything that may seem like it's a vent out. People may end up going into that direction because they may think it's helping them to really deal with the situation. So low self-esteem can affect you in different ways in social situations. It can make you stop dealing with the things that you need to deal with. It may stop you from trying new things because they are challenging. But in the problem with that, you may feel safe for a moment, but in actual sense, this thing may come up as somewhere else. It may turn up somewhere else where it has become a bigger problem. And it also reinforces your doubts and fears, and it teaches you that, the only way to cope is avoiding things. That doesn't work, because if you avoid those things, they can lead to depression, mental health issues, anxiety, addictive behaviors, and that is not a problem solved. It's a mountain built, a mountain that we can be able to avoid way before it becomes a dangerous mountain. Now, I don't know whether to stop there and then to continue tomorrow on how to have a healthy self-esteem. Let me just check on you, the audience, and you can tell me whether I should continue with the topic, or I should stop there until another day. So whoever comments and tells me whether I should continue or stay there, that will be the answer I go by. Meanwhile, the little break I'm going to give you again is with our own Jeremy Damaris again here. The topic we are talking about today is self-esteem and self-confidence, and this is Spices of Life from Esther from Leicester. But before I can continue, I would like to know whether we should continue or whether we should stop there. So let me see as Jeremy Damaris also sings to us a little bit here as I take a 1 minute break. Thank you so much, Jeremy Damaris, for that beautiful song again. Our break time. Yes, that minute that I needed for break. Thank you so much. Karibu sana and thank you so much for giving us this platform for you to, for us to be able to talk about issues like this. Self-esteem and confidence is to do with our well-being and also safeguarding ourselves and also our welfare in how we live this life. And because I've had some replies here, I will continue. So, yeah, I have had a reply here from, okay, Pastor John Buru says this: every stage in the psychosexual stages of development is very vital and key to our holistic well-being. Most cases of low self-esteem are emanate from the early stages of our lives. I know that's a huge topic, Pastor John Buru, and we will be maybe hopefully expanding on those at some particular point. Remind me if you need me to. Psychosexual stages of development and it's to do with childhood development and all that. So if you remind me another day, we could expand on the theories themselves and go back. I had asked, should I continue or stop there for today? But after Maria Mwehaki dancing really heavily here, and also Rose Ngure saying, please continue. A lot of mental health crisis in our modern times. Very helpful for parents with teenagers and young adults. Yes, and of course, Wedone Guy and John Buru says also, keep it up. Let's move on. Let's continue. I would have stopped there, but thank you for the permission that you've given me. Then I will continue with the topic where I was just about maybe to call it a day. So this is the next point: how to have a healthy self-esteem. How to have healthy self-esteem. So to boost yourself, Or to boost others, you need to identify the negative beliefs you have about yourselves, then challenge them. So for you yourself, you need to boost your self-esteem. To boost your self-esteem, you need to identify the negative beliefs you have about yourself, then challenge them. In the same way, when you're helping someone else, if you're helping someone else to boost their self-esteem, you need to help them to identify the negative beliefs they have about themselves. Then help them to challenge them or ask them to challenge them. That's one way we can be able to have a healthy self-esteem. Number two, you may tell yourself you may tell yourself you're too stupid to apply for a new job, for example, or that nobody cares about you. So what I'm trying, stop telling yourself these things. Stop speaking negatively about your life. Stop feeling like nobody cares, because you care, God cares, and of course there are many other people who care about you. Like me here, I am here talking about this topic because I care. Yeah, we may be strangers here on the channel, but from now on, you know me, I know you. You can be able to pursue, or rather you can be able to follow up, and we can be able to look at how to deal with these issues. The person who wrote, Marie Wright, who wrote these notes for me, also, yes, cares. So there are so many people who care. So stop telling yourself those things that bring you down. Tell yourself those things that boost your self, because you know the self-worth. You know the worth. And even if you don't know, you can ask someone else to tell you what values do you have, or do you add into this life, and then you can be able to exercise your giftings. You can be able to exercise the things that God has given you. You can be able to maximize your talents. You can be able to do that. So one of the things I normally talk about is to rediscover who you are, to rediscover the purpose that is in your life, and then be able to amplify that and maximize that. So stop telling yourself you're too stupid. Stop telling yourself you're good for nothing. Stop listening either also from other people when they tell you you're good for nothing or you're stupid. No. That too, you can stop. And also for the people we are helping, let's help them not to listen to. Help them not to listen to. If there is a way they can stop listening to that negative voice, that negative sound, or that negative person, or that negative thought, because sometimes it's just the thought process. Remember, we said self-esteem is about the opinion you have about yourself. So the negative thought, and combining this with the overthinking, the one I was saying, how to stop overthinking at the very beginning of the program. If you've not listened to that part, go back at the beginning and be able to listen to that. You can stop overthinking about that negative thought that is in your mind. The other thing you can do is start to note these negative thoughts. You can write them down on a piece of paper, or on a diary, or on your phone, and ask yourself when you first started to think about these thoughts. When did they start? Was there a life event that affected them? Are they coming from something you had in childhood? Where are they coming from? Can you be able to identify the source of those negative thoughts? Is something that somebody told you? Is it something you have seen in the media? Is it something you're just imagining? Try to note down where these negative thoughts are coming from, and ask yourself where they first began. And then next, start to write some evidence that challenges these negative beliefs. Remember, point number one, I had said to boost your self-confidence, you must identify the negative beliefs and about yourself, then challenge them. So after you've written them down, start to also write ways that you can be able to challenge this negative. So start writing the evidence of the thoughts, where they began from, then start writing the ways that you can challenge the negative beliefs, such as, I am really good at ABCD. I can do ABCD. For example, Esther, I can cook very well, but I have to be careful how much I'm eating after cooking. So if somebody tells me I'm rubbish at one thing, then I'm good at another thing. So I can count my blessings. I can count so many things that I'm good at. I can be able to do those things because I can do them very well. Everybody's talented differently. Yes, even if you have only one talent, don't bury that. If you have 2, you can multiply them. If you have 5, this is a biblical principle, then you can multiply that. So start counting on how many talents you have, and therefore tell them, I'm good at these, I'm good at these. And you can also tell yourself about the people who really care about yourself. The person who called you, the person who texted you, the person who sat at the Kenya Diaspora Media to talk to you, that person cares about you. So you can also start thinking about those people that care. If you have that niggling that tells you that nobody cares about you, there are so many people who care about you. Then write down other positive things about yourself, such as I am thoughtful, I am kind, I am a great cook, like I had said, I am someone that others can trust. Write positive things about yourself, because there are many. If you can't think of any, just remember, in the beginning, in Genesis, God says you are good. So you are good. That's a good starting point. And what is the good that can come out of the seed of good? So if you plant a good seed, it will bear good fruits. And like I had said earlier on, if you look at Galatians chapter 5, starting from verse 21, 23 there, you can be able to see the good fruits of the Holy Spirit. Okay, so if you plant a good seed, then you're able to harvest a good seed. If you plant a bad seed, you will harvest a bad seed. But I am trying to encourage you to plant the good seeds. And I'm not only saying about you, with those people around you. If you have teenagers, if you have children as well, yes, it's important that you also help them to be able to plant those good seeds. Tell them God sees them in the good light. God sees them as good, because that was what was there before evil became, before we became vulnerable to the realities of the world, where the enemy entered our minds and we started seeing evil. So there is good. And even the Bible says everything works together for good for those who are in Christ Jesus. So if you believe in God, even that thing that you're seeing as a negative, remember, in the overthinking, how to stop overthinking processes I had talked about, even when failure comes, right? It is a stepping stone. It's a learning curve. It's a learning stage. So you're able to learn and do something else. So all things work together for good. But we can be able to start from a place of positivity, thinking good about ourselves. Also, write some good things about other people. Also write some good things that other people say to you. Yes, you know, sometimes when we think of negative things, we also start seeing negative things from the people around us, because we are projecting our own negativity on them. So as you write good things about yourself, also start seeing good things about other people. See good things about your husband. See good things about your wife. See good things about your children. See good things about your siblings, and be the doctor that will help them also to build their self-esteem and also to change the perspective of you. So pile love on them. That's what the Bible says. Love them regardless of them bringing negative conversations or negative statements about you. You can prove them wrong by being the kind one, by being the good one. So write some good things about yourself to build your self-esteem, but also change the mirror to which you're looking life at. Change the perspective. I normally say the word of God is the mirror to which we can see ourselves. So if we see the other person in the good light, we stop seeing the speck in the other person's eye and see the log in our own eyes. Then remove the log in our own eyes, remove the problem that we have in our own lives. Then we can be able to see the world with a clearer picture. We can be able to see life with a different perspective. Aim to have at least 5 positive things on your list, and you can add on to that regularly. Now, because we are commanded to love, in as much as you're writing your own 5 positive things on your list, also try to see at least those 5 positive things on other people's lives. Then put your list somewhere where you can see it. In that way, you can be healing yourself. You can be also trying to help other people around you. By the time they see your positive things and you're acting them out, you are becoming an active person in them. Remember, in the stopping overthinking, we had said be a person of action. So you are saying positive things about yourself, but in the process of saying that, you're not only writing them, you are living those points that you've said. So if I'm a good cook, then I will cook and share that food, particularly with that very person who could be saying something negative from me. And then hopefully they will see the good side of me, and they can be able to taste my cake. They can be able to taste the bread I have baked or that stew that I've made. And hopefully, and even if they don't change, Keep on those positive things. Keep working them out. It's the talents, it's the giftings that God has given you, and you can use those ones, because the gift will make way for you. The gift will make way for you. Then put your list somewhere you can see it. That way you can keep reminding yourself that you are okay. And that's why, again, we also read the Word of God, because the Word of God keeps on reminding us that we are good. We are good, and other people are good, and God is good as well. So you might have a low confidence now because of what happened when you were growing up, but we can grow and develop new ways of seeing ourselves at any stage. You remember I said self-confidence is to do with the abilities. So you may not be able to do that thing that you're doing very well, but with time, as you keep on practicing that thing that you need to do, your abilities become better, and therefore you can improve on self-confidence. As the confidence becomes improved, the self-esteem also becomes better and better, because the self-esteem is the opinion you have about yourself. Confidence levels is to do with your abilities most of the time. So if you're able to do that thing that was defeating you, if you're able to challenge that thing that was defeating you, then your confidence levels go up, then self-esteem goes up. And remember, you're not only doing it for yourself, you are also encouraging a child, you're encouraging a friend, you're doing the same to other people that are around you. Recognize that what you're good at. We all are good at something. We are all good at something, whether it's, like I said, cooking, singing, doing puzzles, visiting friends, anything. If you read again the Bible, it talks about many giftings that we have. So if you're good at any of that, leadership or anything, then remember and try to recognize that thing that you're good at. We also tend to enjoy doing the things that we are good at. Yes? If you are not good at something, you may not enjoy doing that thing. But if you're good at something, then we enjoy doing that, and there's nothing wrong in enjoying what we do. By the way, we have gone through school. I have gone through school up to university level, but I'm not operating in the degree that I studied, because I know I'm good at that, but I really struggle to study that. Some of them I was studying to pass the exams, but there's many things that I'm good at in this life, and one of them is this one, talking to you. So I am talking to you because I know I'm good at talking, and in the goodness of talking, I'm able to encourage 1, 2, 3 people. I'm able to speak to other people. I'm able to help other people. And John Buru, Pastor, you're saying it's very impressive, and keep it up. You're keeping up. So we are good at something. Remember that. Always remind yourself you're good at those things that I've said. Write them down and also see the good in other people. Then the picture becomes better and better. The other thing is to build positive relationships. Now, building relationships is not an easy thing, but it's something we really need to work hard at. And if you find certain people tend to bring you down, like I had said in the overthinking processes, you can avoid them. You can love them, but you don't have to spend time with them. If all they do is bring you down, you can avoid them. It doesn't mean you hate them. You can still love them with the love of God. But if you find that they tend to bring you down, try to spend less time with them, or tell them how you feel about their words and actions. So if it's somebody you can challenge, remember we talked about challenging situations, then you can tell them. If it's your mom, if it's your friend, if it's your sister or brother, if it's your husband or wife, even if they don't listen at that particular time, you can tell them, you know, when you say this thing, it really hurts me, or I don't like the way you do. But the best way to fight this is to do it with love. So go and do the good things that you do very well. Shower them with love. Place the coals of fire on their heads, and then hopefully with time, because there are many ways to speak the things you want to speak. So actions speak louder than word. So if you act in love, then they are able to see that love, regardless of how they're bringing you down. Then they can be able also to respond to your love. And try to build those relationships with people who are positive and who appreciate you. It's hard work. Relationships are hard work. Just remember, for those who are married, they can tell you it's hard work. For parents, they can tell you it's hard work. It's not easy. There are sacrifices that we do on a daily basis to keep the relationships going. Be kind to yourself. Being kind to yourself means being gentle to yourself at times when you feel like you want to be self-critical. When you want to criticize yourself and bring yourself down, remember, kindness is the fruit of the Spirit. Be kind to yourself. Think what you would say to a friend in a similar situation. Often give far better advice to others than we do to ourselves. Sometimes we advise people well. Sometimes we give other people good advice, but we don't advise ourselves in the same manner. So what I'm trying to say, be kind to yourself. As you give other people good advice, give good advice to yourself. And in the same process, keep building your confidence in advising others so that they can also grow in their confidence levels. Learn to be assertive. Being assertive is about respecting other people's opinions and needs and expecting the same from them. So one trick is to look at the other people who are assertively and copy what they do. You know, assertive, like say something and mean it. Yes, say something and you mean it, but you say good things and you mean it. Love people assertively. Love people in a intentional way. That's what other people say. So when you do something, mean it. So if I mean to be building my self-confidence now, I would be assertive to myself. I would respect, yes, the person that God has created in me. I would also respect other people the way God has created them. And when I'm being assertive, I'm not being nasty. I'm doing this in the same way that I had said in the previous point, being kind. And one trick also is to look at how those people that are kind of our role models, our mentors, how do they do these things assertively? How do they mean it? And how so stop pretending. It's not about pretending to be someone that you're not. It's about picking the habits or the hints or the tips from other people that are better, that can build your self-esteem. Admire them. For example, Jesus. We admire Jesus. We look at Jesus and we pick because we imitate him and we want to be more like him. We want to do the things that he's done. Paul, the apostle as well, we want to do things like that. In our day-to-day life right now, there are people you admire because they are doing things in the correct way. So learn something from them and keep those and do them intentionally. Say no. Yes, learn to say no. You know, sometimes when you have low self-esteem, you want to please everyone. Yeah, like we had said in stopping overthinking as well, there's a time you need to say no. So people with low self-esteem often feel that they must say yes to other people even when they do not really want. So if you don't want to do something, if you don't want to listen to someone, you can say no and you can stop. The risk is that you become overburdened, resentful, angry if you keep on saying yes, 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 yes to other people's expectations, other people's demands. So there's a time to say no, and you shouldn't feel guilty about it. It's because it's about building your self-esteem. So when you say no, finish. Don't overthink about it because it's something you didn't want to do. You don't want to do it. The Bible says when you give with a cheerful heart. So when you give your time, when you give your money, when you give whatever it is that you're giving, give it with an open heart. Don't spend time there really again feeling like you're guilty or resentful or angry or depressed or anything. Say no and finish and don't overthink about it. For the most part, saying no does not upset relationship. It can be helpful to keep saying no, but in different ways until they get the message. Yeah, you can say no in different ways. That's what I mean. So it's not necessarily no. You can say it with love. Remember, I had said the currency again is love. And then give yourself a challenge. We all feel nervous and afraid of doing things sometimes. You know, I had said sometimes we try to avoid those challenging things. No, you just remember that we all feel nervous and afraid to do things. But people with healthy self-esteem do not let these feelings stop them from trying new things or taking new challenges or taking on challenges. So set yourself a goal that is practical, such as joining an exercise class or doing a social occasion, an event. Yes, achieving your goals will help to increase your self-esteem. Don't set yourself very high goals that you cannot achieve. Don't set very high expectations. We had talked about expectations. Even when other people are expecting things from you, remember I've said you can say no. So give yourself a challenge, but a challenge that is practical. Now, you can also go to therapy. People say psychological therapy is like counseling or cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. They can help. Yes, go to people, talk to people, your pastors that can counsel you very well. And if you prefer, in the UK, the doctors, you can talk to your GP if they have time. They can be able to help you professionally. So, in as much as we are doing all these things, there are times we may need professional help. If it's available, then go for it. Why not? Anyway, it's been a long session, and I know some people maybe could have left the session and some people will come back later. It's here for you. I have done this out of love. I've done this because I believe it's a necessary thing to do. Today, we were talking about self-esteem and self-confidence. And as the questions come through, I will be able to respond to those. I'll be able to respond to the comments. Otherwise, I want to call it a day. I know we've done really, really well. And thank you everyone who has joined me. And then we can be able to continue with the topic another day, another time where the need be. Otherwise, asanteni sana kwa kuungana nami. It's been a very wonderful time. Otherwise, I'm going to play Love again. This song from Jeremy Damaris as we close the studio. If you have any question and you would like me to comment on that particular thing that you want me to comment on before I close, I won't recap right now because we've already done almost 1.5 hours of this. So I will stop there. In the next session, maybe I'll be picking point by point to be able to recap. If you have a question or a yes, you can be able to comment there. If this session has helped you, or you know it's going to help someone, please let me know by commenting down here. Otherwise, hapa hivi ni Jeremy Damaris. We will restart the song and we'll be finishing in a short while. Thank you so much.
Kana dire wendo hana taruduku kana gegerere gabaga ya gudu hana taruduku kana gegerere gabaga ya gudu wendo ngai gai wendo otare wendo no vera tu wendo ngai gai wendo otare wendo no vera tu no wira watu itale wenda ni dire patona nini itale wenda ni dire patona nini wendo ngai gai wendo otale wendo no wira watu wendo ngai gai wendo otale wendo no wira watu kwa ushino na die wenda ni dire ndoige unanago wenda ni nyokira gereria ni utugana wenda ni ndore weiru mwegatho ona kana mweteo wenda ni ndore weiru mwegatho ona kana mweteo wenda ni ndogathira morathi magathira thiomini gathira ona uge uthire no wenda ni ndogathira wenda ni ndogathira morathi magathira thiomini gathira ona uge uthire no wenda ni ndogathira wenda ngai gai wenda otari wenda no wira watu
Thank you so much. Until another day. Thank you so much, Jen Chege from Wadi Dawasil, Saudi Arabia, for joining us. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Karibuni sana. Asante sana for your time. Thank you so much for also your contributions, for everyone who has commented. And please continue with the comments because I normally look at them. If you have a question, if you have a topic of interest within mental health, particularly within well-being and safeguarding and welfare, yeah, we want to grow healthier minds. We want to grow healthier bodies. Spices of Life, by the way, stands from the spiritual, physical, intellectual, commercial, or currency, and as well as emotions and social aspects of life. I look at all those aspects of life and I want us to be able to grow healthier and healthier and healthier in those areas of life. So if you have any comment or question, or if you would like to know a little bit more, this is the place to be. My name is Esther from Leicester. And till another day, from me, it's Asanteni Sana. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining in. And we will continue growing in self-esteem and self-confidence in a balanced way. Remember, don't overdo it, because if you have too much self-esteem, it can become pride. If you have, low or very low self-esteem, again, you can go downhill. You can end up burying your talent. So we need to have a balanced self-esteem, and at the same time, as we grow in confidence, we can be able to grow stronger and stronger even in our self-esteem. Asanteni sana. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you all. I love you and God loves you the more. Asanteni sana. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.